You are listening to These Are the Films, episode 9, and this time we're going to be talking about Field of Dreams. Hi everyone, welcome to These Are the Films, a fortnightly podcast where we pick a film and we have a little chat about it. My name's Jim, my boon companion, Crispin.
I missed what Skype went weird, and then I missed what you said. I just know that whatever my introduction was, you were really pleased about it.
That's really annoying. I was really pleased with that.
Don't tell me what it was. I'll listen to it at the playback.
Okay.
Yes. Hello. Welcome to our film club. That's what it is. A film club. Every couple of weeks, we pick a film, we talk about it, and then at the end of the episode, we'll pick another film and invite you to watch that, tell us what you think about it, and then we'll be talking about that new film next episode.
Absolutely. And we're definitely not film buffs or experts. And you know what? I'm not even sure we really know what we're talking about. So please give us feedback because we're shooting in the dark here.
Now, Jim, now you've said that, are you asking me to turn the comments on YouTube?
Not on YouTube, but people involved in Facebook and Twitter and some of the more kinder areas of the internet, but
yeah,
no, I don't really want to get involved with that. YouTube, it's a free-for-all. People are monsters.
You can find all the details of where to contact us at These.Are.The.Films.com. Please do.
Thank you, Crispin. So this week we are going to be talking about Phil Alden Robinson's 1989 fantasy film Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Stars Kevin Costner and various other people, and he hears voices in a field and cuts half of his corn down and makes a baseball pitch, and all manner of ghostly events occur. So yeah, I've seen more so many times, and I really like it. And I'm kind of conscious of the fact that I don't know. It doesn't seem to have. I don't know if it's considered particularly. I mean, I think it's good. It's got a good Rotten Tomatoes score and stuff, but. Is it one of the classics?
What's it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't know, like 87 or something, I think.
Right.
I think, yeah, 87. Which is bloody good, really, isn't it? But I think one of the problems that this film suffers from, in terms of its sort of legacy, in terms of how it's viewed, is that it's popular.
Right.
And, you know, smarty pantsers, they can't be seen to be liking a popular film. But... yeah, what do you think?
Well, I don't know, Jim. You've seen this film many, many times. I have seen bits of this film a few times. I realised once I sat down to watch it, I realised that I'd seen loads of bits of it. You know, I might have switched on, watched it for a bit, and then just gone off. But I don't think I've ever given it more than 10 minutes or so.
Right.
You know, just to be completely honest, I don't think that it's not like I've watched it and gone, oh, tedious rubbish, and switched it off. You know, but sometimes you know, especially when you come into a film not right from the beginning, it's like, no, I'm not going to continue watching it. So,
well, I mean, the film is, I think, abstract enough that I'm not sure it's a join in the middler.
No, I think well, there you go. It definitely isn't, because I'm sure I've switched onto it, I don't know, 5, 6 times when it's been on the telly, and then just and not followed it through. But as I was watching it, I remembered what happens next. You know, I'd seen little bits of it often enough, and then and then weirdly, watching it this time, they all joined up.
Right. Okay.
And then there was some revelations along the way.
Okay.
That we'll come to, rather than me just blurting them all out right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, what I think about this movie is that it's. I think it's. I think what possibly lets it down, and a criticism that it gets that I think is probably valid to a certain extent, is that it's overly sentimental, which it probably is. But
Yeah,
I can't help liking a bit of sentimentality. I mean, come on, what you go to the cinema for? Come on, leave all your hard nosed cynicism at the door.
yeah.
Just be a
Well,
bit.
no, how could? There's the thing. Like, if it is a sentimental film, so what makes it over sentimental?
I'm not sure really.
What's how
Well, like,
how does how
I
does
don't know.
Kevin jump the shark of
I
sentimentality?
don't know. He lays it on pretty thick, doesn't it? And it's the um, uh, lots of people have got demons, and lots of those demons get resolved. And I don't know. I personally don't think that it's overly sentimental, but I
Mm.
do have sympathy with the critics who have accused it of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm interested in. It's just struck me as weird when people say something is over sentimental.
Yeah,
Something sort of is sentimental or it's not, isn't it?
yeah, I know, but I think possibly it could be. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to defend people who, you know, I almost feel like I'm trying to defend a point of view which I don't agree with. But
Mm.
I don't know. Some films are a bit cloying, right? It's a bit, it lays it on a bit thick. There's no subtlety to it. But I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
necessarily.
I'd agree with that. There is very little subtlety to it. A lot of it is very explained and led and obvious.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So yeah, I see that being. But by the same token, I think one of the things that I like about this movie is that I mean it's very postmodern and it's got lots of like self-referential and there's lots of meta aspects to it, and it's magical realism, and a lot of things aren't explained in it, and a lot of the certainly the magical realism aspects of it you're supposed to just take
Yeah,
as without any explanation, and I love that of it. And what I love about it is that it's almost treated like it's just a cheesy film for all of the family, but in actual fact it's surprisingly sophisticated, and it's full of um, techniques which had, if one of your smarty pants postmodern authors like your Paul Austers of this world or your Kurt Vonnegut's or something came up with something like that, everyone would be talking about how well done all the magical realism and stuff is. But because it's a Kevin Costner movie, maybe it doesn't get that. Um,
Do you think it's actually? Do you think that's where have you hit the nail on the head right there? That it's because it's Kevin Costner that people are just like, well, this is a Kevin Costner type film.
yeah, and because it was really big, and because people who um, maybe don't have as I don't know. I'm reluctant to say um, sophisticated tastes in films, but it's well liked by people who generally don't tend to like films that don't play with, I don't know, more interesting themes as much. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
hard for me to
understand.
say. I think snooty people think that people that they're above like this film, and so they shouldn't like this film.
Right. Okay, I understand.
But I'm not sure if I do think that, but I do suspect it, and I do wonder if that's the case. Or because it's hard for me to believe that people can not like something that I like for intelligent reasons, because surely I'm the cleverest guy, so what I like's right. And anywhere everyone else must have an agenda, right? I don't
Well,
know.
yeah. Well, there you go. I'm not sure that. I'm not sure I really like it. I don't. I don't dislike it. You know, it wasn't a chore to watch.
Okay, good.
There were some things that, there. It's not that it's unsophisticated. I think there was. I did find it quite jarring, the things that you were supposed to just accept,
Right.
and I don't think I feel like I was forcing myself to get over them rather than just getting over them. But
Okay.
that could be because of the different way that I'm starting to watch films now because we're doing this.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because previously we've talked about. I mean, that's been a recurring thing that we've talked about is that there has to be that suspension of disbelief. You have to allow it. You have to allow yourself to watch the film in order
Yeah.
for it to work. So just
Yeah.
to say that it doesn't work because you don't know why suddenly the brother-in-law can see the people, that's not explained. So that's ruined it for me.
Yeah.
That means you're not playing the game, so you're not allowed to have that viewpoint. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. I think one of the things that we're really learning about when doing this podcast is just how difficult exposition is. To get it right is so difficult because how much do you explain? We've praised movies for not explaining things. We've praised movies for explaining things. With some movies we've complained about the exposition. As other movies we've complained because there wasn't enough exposition. I've definitely on this podcast complained about other people complaining about there not being enough exposition, and then gone on another podcast to complain about the same thing. It's one of those funny things that if a film's really good, then it's got an X factor. It's got a thing. And it's so subjective. I'm really glad that we've finally got a film where we don't both just love it. And also, I do love this movie, and I do love the experience that I have when I watch this movie. But I do think it's interesting that you don't. And I think it's also interesting that it's probably, it's interesting that it's a film that we don't have a shared experience of in terms of us watching it, talking about it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And,
So
know,
so talking about the themes that we're talking about now about about the subtlety and about
or lack thereof.
It kind of starts off, doesn't it, putting you into that mood. So the fact that it's kind of deadpan, Kevin Costner basically reading from a piece of paper. This is the setup for this film.
I really like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like the intro.
This is what I'm feeling now as we have discussed this part is that at the beginning, I felt that I was like, okay, right, I can see what you did. Yeah, so this is pretty obvious, and so I guess I was already having slightly negative thoughts about it because of that. Whereas it's an indicator rather than that's obviously that's not wrong. That wasn't a mistake to do that. They're saying, they're saying, or the director, I guess, is saying, this is how this film is going to work.
Yeah, and I think when you make a film of a book, you need to. Some of it, I think you hear a lot of what's it called, voiceover and stuff, whenever you do a film of a book because. It's difficult to get a book into. This is only 100 minutes long, so it's so difficult to get a book into that. So yeah, it just rifles through. He's 30. He's mid to late 30s in it, so we'll just say he's about 38, and you've got to somehow
he's 36, Jim. He said.
Okay.
He said it.
Oh, is he? Okay. We've somehow got to get from because how he experienced his college years in the 60s and everything is valid to the film, isn't it? So we've somehow got to get from him from being 20 to being 36, and we've got the credits to do it in. So yeah, I mean, I like it because I like what's going on visually in that bit because I like how they've. I mean, it would have been airbrushed rather than Photoshop, but they've managed to get in, like for example, Joe Jackson's baseball card comes up and it's got Ray Liotta's face on it.
Yeah.
Stuff that I really like that, and they've obviously got old yearbooks of the actors and put them in and stuff. And I really like that. I always like
that. Must have been like teams of people spending ages, whereas now
you could do that in about 20 minutes. But yeah, I always like that. I always like to see a photo of the actor as a young man in a movie. I always, maybe there'll be a glimpse of, a photo on a sideboard or something, and I always like that
Yeah.
because it always just, I don't know, it
There's
does.
a
I
little
know
hype movie of him with his Kevin Costner from the early '80s
it,
hair with his big mullet.
yeah, yeah, I like that. So yeah, I like how it starts. I think it's good.
Mm.
But I don't know. What I have is a lot of sentimentality about this film as well. I like it, and so I like a lot of things about it that possibly I wouldn't like in another film, just because, when you like something as a whole, you start to forgive parts of it that you don't in other things. And I think that's an interesting thing to see about how we're doing this thing, is how much, um, how much we contradict ourselves, because
Mm.
once you're in a movie and you're enjoying a movie, you start to enjoy things that you wouldn't if that exact same thing was in a rubbish thing as a whole.
Absolutely, yeah. Like with the, the thing that I'm talking about um, with the allowing yourself the suspension of disbelief, even though you feel removed or you feel
Yeah,
jarred out of it
yeah,
to get yourself back into it. Which with Risky Business, I had no problem getting back into and just going, that's fine, we'll get into it. But this time, I kept finding myself being tugged, having my attention tugged by it.
right. The other thing is that I think this film works. It's very much up my street. Magical realism. It's bang.
Baseball,
Well, that's
Kevin Costner.
a really weird thing about this film, is that I love baseball movies. I love baseball movies. I think it's an amazing thing to make a film about. But like I said, I don't know. You stand there and someone throws a ball at you, and if you miss it, it's a strike. But if they throw it badly a bunch of times, then you can walk. And if you hit it out of the fence, it's a home run. And I think there's like 9 innings. And if someone catches you, you're out, and you have to get all the way around or something. That's literally all I know about baseball. But I think that for some reason people make incredible movies about it. And the speech that James Earl Jones says at the end, which he didn't particularly want to do the film, and he said this hasn't got a very good speech at the end, and his wife read it and said, "Don't worry, that's not making it into the film."
What's the speech at the end?
And he says, "Why all these things have in common is baseball. It binds us together." All things like that. I can't
Oh
remember
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what he says, but I think that I think people believe that, and that belief does create something. It creates a tradition, and it does create a way that people react to it. And as a result, it's a really interesting thing to make films of.
Yeah,
Because
that
seen
is weird.
loads of baseball movies,
Mm.
and I think they're
All
brilliant.
football films are always about violence.
Sorry, the Skype went a bit weird, but what I'm hoping you said is, because I heard all football films are, and then it blanked out. I'm assuming that you said terrible.
No, I said they're about violence.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I was
yeah,
talking about soccer, English
yeah.
football.
No, yeah, I am too. If they're
Mm.
actually about the sport, they're awful. But if they're about the people in the crowd, they can be.
Can be good, can
They
also
can be
be
good.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, or like horrifying. I mean, ID's
Mm.
brilliant.
I saw the other day they've made a sequel to ID.
I saw that the other day as well.
I
Oddly
think it
enough,
popped up on Google Play when I was looking at it. I was just like, you can't have a sequel to ID.
no, I wouldn't have thought so. Um, we should do ID.
I've put it on the list, mate. When I saw that
Brilliant.
ID two, so that maybe we'll watch ID two as well, and just oh,
Yeah, I'd be
disgusting.
interested. Yeah, that would be weird. I mean, I'm not sure why you would do that. That
Mm.
would be weird. But let's not write it off before we've seen it. I mean, I've been criticising other people enough for that over the last. Well, the whole of this summer has been just people criticising films or praising films that they just haven't seen.
Mm.
It's been a funny old summer for that. So Ghostbusters and Suicide Squad and the debacles.
Yeah.
Turns out one's good and one isn't, and people wanted them to be the other way round.
Yeah.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. I haven't seen either. Not really particularly
I
interested.
I went to train my apprentices today, and two of them had been to see it, and they both said it was awful.
Well, the Suicide Squad. Yeah. Yeah. My understanding is that it's terrible.
And then I started talking to them about Hawk the Slayer, and they were like, "What?" I said, I saw from the trailer, I imagine it's a bit like Hawk the Slayer. Like, it's really good getting the gang together, but then and they're like, "What? It's Hawk the Slayer? What are you doing?" It's like I said to them, "Oh, it's a bit like in, it's a bit like in that silent film that everyone's seen from where we used to go to the picture show."
Bless.
Yeah.
Bless. Oh, wow. Are they going to watch it?
What, Hawk the Slayer?
Did you make them promise?
They're too busy playing games, mate.
Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. So, should we talk about the film?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Back in the room.
Was there anything that you liked about this movie?
There was loads of things I liked about it.
Go on and tell me.
The PTA scene is
God,
amazing.
that is so good, isn't it? That's definitely my favourite scene.
Yeah.
I love it.
So good.
Yeah.
I really recognised the woman as well, the book burner. What's she out of?
Oh God, yeah. I should have looked that up.
But
Should have looked that up.
Her face, she's one of these people that's just been in everything, doing parts like that. A small part, but really, really well, so you know her face.
Yeah.
I don't know what her name is, and I can't recall her ever like having like a large role in a film.
I feel like in that era she was in everything.
Yeah.
I didn't look it up.
80s, 90s stuff.
Yeah, I didn't look that up. I have to confess.
We'll take it offline.
Yeah, I think we'll have to.
And fill in the eager viewers with that tidbit on. We'll put it on the website.
Yes.
Here's the woman from Thing.
Yeah, but Amy Madigan, who is Annie Kinsella, is brilliant, isn't she?
Mm.
Scene. And when she's all coming out and doing this, and I think that's a really interesting scene because it kind of makes Ray Kinsella and Kevin Costner's character a bit of a. I don't like it. She's given him so much faith.
Yeah.
Especially given how mad, and she's just done something amazing, and he's like, "No, let's talk about my thing."
Mm.
And although the movie justifies that because his thing is this weird thing where people come back from the dead and stuff, and it's incredibly important and like the most important discovery in human history. At the time, it seems pretty sour, and it's hard to know whether that was. I'm not sure that it feels like the film did that on purpose. I'm not sure whether that was an oversight or not. I'm sure probably not because films don't tend to not do things on purpose. But
yeah, but I think it goes with the bluntness again, doesn't it? And the unsubtlety. It's like this thing is so important to Kevin Costner's character that he ignores the amazing thing that we all witnessed as the audience, that we were all completely rooting for. But yeah, and then straight after that, they get into the truck, and she has to drive so he can explain stuff to her.
Yeah,
and she's all totally jolly with it. Whereas, if that was real life.
If someone had just interrupted me when I'd done...
If that was my wife or your wife, I think we might be in a bit of trouble.
I think so. Because if someone's talking about something and they've just done something amazing, then that on them is reasonable. It's their just reward, is it not? That's one of the rules of society and conversation and stuff is let people have their moment. And he doesn't let her have his moment. And then for her to be in fine enough spirits for her to actually let him go off on a stupid quest when they're seems that does seem a bit
when the whole their circumstances about to just disintegrate.
Yeah. But by the same token, I mean, you have to remember at this stage she's also seeing ghosts as well. So it's not like
Yeah,
you know she's not being you can't really the whole doubting Thomas thing aspect of it. Yeah, no, it's she's witnessing the miracle too. So she knows that it is important. So yeah, I suppose you got to let her off for that. But like you say, I can see it could be one of the things that would draw you out of it a little bit. Yeah, for sure. But I do like that scene. I think that's a really good fun scene. Um, and yeah, do you know it's a book, right?
yeah,
Yeah, called Shoeless Joe. Well, in the book, Terrence Mann is actually J.D. Salinger, and it's
right,
and they've changed the name for the film because he just wrote J.D. Salinger as a character into a story, but he'd never met him, and J.D. Salinger was a recluse, and he just invented a fictional character that he called J.D. Salinger, and it's supposed to be the PTA meeting about banning Catcher in the Rye,
right.
because there was lots and lots of PTA meetings. People tried to ban Catcher in the Rye from being taught in schools, because it's about uh, not rebelling and not respecting authority and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
frowned
Yeah.
upon.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was written for adults. It wasn't written for kids, but I think it's a brilliant book and it's certainly worth reading when you're at school. Certainly in America, it's got so much to do with American um, culture and stuff. So, but yeah, so all of that's kind of based on, it's about J.D. Salinger and it's really
Does he love
about.
baseball?
Um, I
Unknown.
forget. Well, no, not really. There is a quote about baseball attributed to him, but it's still a bit. But he certainly doesn't like people writing books and makes about him that bear absolutely no relevance to him at all. So he threatened to sue, which is why they got James Earl Jones to play a writer, a writer whose name they invented called Terrence Mann, because they figured there's no way that J.D. Salinger can sue and say, yeah, that character played by James Earl Jones, he's meant to be me, because they're just going to look at the picture of him and James Earl Jones and say,
Nah.
yeah, no, he's not meant to be. He's not meant to be you. Don't worry about that, mate. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why James Earl Jones got it. Another one is because he's really good, isn't he, James Earl Jones?
Yeah,
Who doesn't like James Earl Jones?
and he was really good in it too, right?
I think so.
He did loads of. He does some great faces
Yeah, yeah,
without doing a lot, because he doesn't really have an enormous expression range.
yeah. He's in a lot of He's in a lot of scenes, but he hasn't got a lot of lines. But he's just chuckling in the background for quite a lot of it, which
Yeah.
I kind of like. When they're watching the game and they're having a hot dog on the bleachers, and Mark, the brother-in-law, is arguing with Kevin Costner, and he's just in the background, kind of laughing and shaking a little. I like that. I like what's going on off camera in some of those scenes. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, I thought he was. I thought he did well. Amy Mannequin was brilliant, and I like Burt Lancaster.
Yeah, Burt Lancaster. Love Burt Lancaster.
Oh, he's so brilliant. He's just, man. This is his last movie, and I think he's magnificent in it. And that twinkle in his eye and all of that, I think that's really good.
Yeah, and still, they still acting like it's the olden days.
Yeah,
I mean, it was no Crimson Pirate, but it's still stage acting.
Yeah.
It's still over the top, but it kind of it fitted in
Yeah,
because, like you say, it's it's the magical realism and
yeah, yeah, and he was a ghost. And he was supposed to be acting a larger than life character from the period that he lived, and everything about his character um, is based on true life. That's based on the baseball player Archie Graham. They changed the dates of when he played and when he died, just so that it would fit in better with how the film goes. But there was a Moonlight Graham, um,
Mhm.
who, and the story of how he nearly got into baseball and then didn't is true. And then all of the clippings and stuff, that's all based on real clippings and real interviews with people who knew him as Doc Graham in the
Oh
little town
right,
that he lived in. So
nice.
yeah, so like that's what I mean about it all being like meta fiction and stuff, because
Yeah.
some of the people in it
So
are
were
real.
they people that um, the author of the book is Kevin Costner's character, right? Was
Well,
it?
oddly enough, Kevin Costner's character is called Ray Kinsella,
Yeah.
and the author of the book is W.P. Kinsella. I think William is his first name.
Oh right.
But Kinsella. So yeah, sort of. But Ray Kinsella is actually a character in one of J.D. Salinger's books.
Oh right.
Yeah. So it's all very complicated. And there's another. I
Oh,
think
but yeah.
John.
Sorry, my question was so did for that's from the book then? Is the author Kinsella actually went and interviewed those
Yeah,
people, and that's
yeah,
the transcripts that are in the book, and then that's what was transferred to screen.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
he changed them a little bit, but they're all sort of true. The stories, and he had like, um, the collecting the shoes and all that sort of thing, and he'd give people free eye tests and all of that. All of that was all
Had
true.
100
So
hats in his office.
I don't know if the 100 hats thing's true.
Okay.
But the fact that he was like a bit of a hero in the community and looked after kids and stuff, all
Mm.
of that's true. So I really like that. I was
Okay.
really pleased when I found that out. I thought that was kind of slightly touching.
Well, yeah, and yeah, that's it. There's loads of touching moments in there, like the bit where Burt Lancaster says, "It would be worse if I'd only got to be a doctor for 5 minutes."
And that,
That's enormous.
well, it's what the film's about.
Mm.
It's about dreams and moments in your life. There's another thing that he says where I forget the exact line, but it's something along the lines of the monumental decisions and moments in your life don't feel like it at the time.
Mm.
And it's right, your decisions that you make and they change your whole life. And it's only in hindsight that you look at them and his dream was to be a baseball player, and he's right. The tragedy would be the
If he
thing that
had been
worked
a
out.
baseball player.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that I think is what the film. If the film's about anything, that's what it's about. It's certainly not about some daft concept of heaven, and it's not. It's certainly not about baseball, um, and or the afterlife or anything. All of those things are just used as metaphors, and that's why you're supposed to
Yeah.
not know. You're never supposed to consider what's out in the cornfield.
No,
You're not supposed to.
then it's weird that they made quite a big deal out of it, where Kevin Costner wanted to go into the cornfield,
Yeah,
and only James Earl Jones was allowed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you're also supposed to just accept that. I mean, I think you're supposed to accept that we can't have any concept of what's going on in the cornfield because of different planes of reality and all of that nonsense. And
Yeah.
it's just, well, you can't, you're not invited, you can't come. Um, but does that mean that James Earl Jones has died to go there? But he's coming back and writing about it. But I love the ambiguity of it. I think that's a really good part of it. It seems to be annoying you a little bit, but I
No, I
really,
don't. No, I don't think it's annoying me at all. I think, in fact, quite the opposite. Because the things that you're talking about, like the concept of heaven and how that didn't enter my head at all.
the only thing that annoys me is when Ray's dad asks about, where is this heaven? And he says, no, it's Iowa. And I was just thinking, it's good that you're not, the whole film seems to be set up on the premise that we're not actually talking about that. We're not trying to put any names on it. And then you're almost spoiling it in the film.
Mm.
But fortunately, they get off that quite quickly, so that doesn't pull me out enough to ruin the scene for me. But yeah, I like the ambiguity of it. I think that's what's interesting. Yeah, so one of the things, another reason why I like the movie is because even though I don't know anything about baseball, I totally knew the story about Shoeless Joe Jackson and the Black Sox and all of that backstory stuff. I totally knew already.
Well,
Not
before
because
you
I know,
watched it for the first time.
yeah, because Eight Men Out, which is a film about it.
Oh, right.
So I only watched a film about the Black Sox, and so I already knew all about it. So because that came out a year before Eight Men Out, and it's a really good film.
Is it the same people? Is it Ray Liotta playing Shoeless
That'd be
Joe?
good, wouldn't it? No, it's not. Think of Ray Liotta as Shoeless Joe.
Yeah, Grant. Well, I've got nothing really to compare it with, so I haven't seen a lot of Shoeless Joe films.
No. I mean, I wasn't.
a big daft on purpose. Yeah, it was good. I don't know. Yeah, I think the sort of so the whole way through it, he's bewildered about everything, but then it turns out he's the orchestrator. Is that right? Did I get that right?
I think that Costner thinks that he is, and at the end, I don't know. There's ambiguity about who's the voice in the cornfield.
Yeah.
At the end, Costner says it was you, wasn't it, you ghost? And Ray Liotta says, no, it was you. And well, that's weird, And
Right.
so I think it's still left as to who acted it. No one will tell. So I think they recorded a few people, so no one, and because it's been post-produced so much, you actually can't tell whose voice it is. So there's a few people in the world who know whose voice it is, the sound editors and stuff, and the director, I would imagine, and they won't tell. So
that's nice. That's good.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. So a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Ray Liotta," and Ray says, "Well, I did record one, but so did some other people, and I don't know whether they used my take or someone else's take."
That's really good. I really like that. I really like that a lot.
Yeah. So just adds to the ambiguity of the film, because I don't think you're supposed to know, because is it in his head? Is it him? Who is it? You're not supposed to be about it, and that's what I like about it as well, is that there's all kinds of nonsense going on, and you're worrying about the farm and the money and making your mortgage payments and stuff. You're not worrying about ghosts and the afterlife and that sort of thing. And yeah, I kind of like that. It's interesting, but I don't know. I just like the movie in general, really. I think that I've been very forgiving of all of the things, because I've said a lot of things that I criticise about it, but I've been very forgiving of it. Sorry, go on.
I tell you, well, I was going to say something that I was really surprised at when I sat down to watch it was how quickly everything came about. Because like I said, I've switched in and out of this film, dipped in and out a few times. 1 minute in, we've got the whole, we're into the story already. Then 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, the voice is already there. We're mowing down. It's not 20 minutes and the whole thing, the field's built.
Well, that's because everyone thinks this film is about a guy who cuts down his corn and builds a baseball pitch, which it kind of is,
But
but
yeah, but that's it. That's well, exactly right.
I mean that's
That's
over
what
in
I was
20
expecting.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
oh,
20
it's already
minutes.
done it. Go to
What
bed.
are we gonna do? What are we gonna do with the rest of the time? Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, the big road trip is kind of the important bit, and then when they all get back, and I think we nail on the head with regards to Dr. Graham and how and the importance of your life is where you lead it and have dreams and all of that sort of thing. Um, so yeah, I think we've kind of nailed that aspect of it. Really, but yeah, it's a very fast-paced movie, isn't it? Lots
Mm.
of everything. There's lots of things happening, and it's all got to get done by the end of the film, hasn't it? And yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know. I mean, it's hard to call the last scene my favorite scene, because I think one of the scenes that I enjoy the most is the PTA one,
Mm.
but the final scene is the scene, isn't it? That's the payoff with with his dad
Yeah.
in playing catch and all that sort of thing. And I don't know. I mean, I cry like a baby when I watch that. I mean, I'm not scared to say it. It's probably the film which is the one which is most likely. Again, honestly, I am in pieces. I don't know if you're much of a cry at filmer, but I'll go if I'm gonna. And this film gets me, and I am in absolute pieces when I watch this film. Um, Although, to put everything in sort of perspective with that respect, I have got a dead dad, so
Mm.
that aspect of it is obviously quite influential in how I experience this movie, because that thing. It's a lot of it is about. It's a very male movie again, isn't it?
Yeah.
We keep doing these male movies. I think it's kind of. I think that might actually be my fault if I think back on it. But yeah, it's a very male movie.
Yeah. And yeah, the loss and regret is a constant, like you said, and has that payoff.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
think that's the bit that you're relating to that turns on the waterworks?
yeah. When he says, he introduces. I start getting a bit like wobbly lipped at the bit where he starts introducing. He's talking to Ray, and he says, if you build it, he will. Because it's not if you build it, they will come. It's one of the most misquoted movies. It's if you build it, he will come, and
Mm.
he is your dad, and that's what this has been all about. Because there's the bit where he's saying, "What's in it for me?" Well, that was what was in it for him, but he had to kind of have faith in order to get the payoff, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and Yeah, and so from the moment that he sees it's his dad, I start going a little bit, and then he introduces him to his granddaughter, and that gets me quite badly. And then, oddly enough, the bit which gets me, that just is the bit which sends me over the edge, is when he says "Dad," and that isn't. They didn't record that in the film. That was done in post. They tested it, and at the end they said, well, was it his dad or not? When they went in the test screenings, and
Right.
so you don't see him say "dad" because that was added in post.
Hey, right.
So him calling him dad, you don't actually see Kevin Costner doing it. But yeah, when he says, "Do you want a game of catch?" I'm gone. I am gone, honestly, every time, without fail. And I don't know whether that's. It's really hard to know whether that's something enjoyable or not. I certainly feel a lot better afterwards, and I love watching the movie.
Yeah.
And so I guess there's a certain catharsis to it.
Yeah. There's a few films that make me cry again and again, and I do think it's enjoyable. I do think that that, it's part of the package that goes with the film, isn't it? It's that you
Yeah,
have this memory experience, you have
yeah,
this, you have a relationship with a film,
yeah,
because it's more than just like you would have a relationship with a piece of music or a particular painting or something.
yeah,
It's your associations with it that are massively important, and
yeah,
that's a key thing about this podcast, is that we're not. This isn't the list of films that is the best 5 best gangster movies, best cowboy films,
Yeah.
best this, best that. It's not. It's it's the films that have that significance for
Yeah.
one or both of us. That's the
Absolutely.
interesting thing.
Yeah, I
Really.
think so, and how that can colour it. I mean, certainly for me, in terms of my relationship with my dad made me watch Eight Men Out when it came out, so I knew all about the Black Sox from that.
Hmm.
He was really interested in stories about sport, and um, I don't know, it just. And I've talked about him on the podcast before because of his love of movies and how I inherited that
Hmm.
from him. So he made me watch that, and then he made me watch this film. So, which is odd because then it's about like unresolved um, issues between fathers and sons. Which, let's face it, I don't think that it would be unusual for me to say that there are one or two things left unsaid. I think probably if my dad died when he was not, if anyone's dad died when he was 94, you'd probably be able to think of one or two unresolved issues. Everyone would. How many films are about that? It's such a common thing. So I don't think it's in any way unusual that, I think about what I could have said and all that sort of thing. And that is what gets me. And especially now, this time was the first time I've watched it as a dad myself. So you've then got that. And then you've also got the bit where he introduces his dad to he's never met before because he died prior to it. So then there's that on top of it. So this time was a bit like, oh God, this is even heavier than last time I watched it. I've got all these extra stuff to deal with now. Wow. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think it's really powerful, that bit. I think it's um, I worry that some people think it's cheap. You never played catch with your dad, and then he died, and now he's come back as a ghost, and you get to play catch with him.
Or you used to play catch with his dad, and then you started to resent him and dislike him because you were because you were an adolescent in the company of another man without a mother, the calming influence of someone else.
Yeah. And let's face it, we've all been a teenage boy living becoming a grown man in the house of the grown man, and it's no matter how good your relationship was with your father, that's always going to
exactly. I mean, for even the super plows, dad and son, Flanders relationships that there are, there's got to be some breaking of branches and smashing around and
you would think so.
around.
You would think so.
It's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so,
it's often a thing, with the unresolved things, people often.
So I think as a result, I think it's a movie that touches and that's why it's a very male movie, because every man will have experienced that and know what that means. So a very male movie, but I really like it. I think it's great, and I mean, Burt Lancaster's just the icing on the cake, really. God, I love that man.
Yeah.
He's absolutely amazing. Yeah, cool. So
he's huge as well. He's enormous.
Yeah,
he's an enormous person.
A really big.
So it picks Kevin Costner up in his hand like that.
when you see him in
whippersnapper.
When you see him in things like The Flame and the Arrow, God, I mean, he's he's huge guy. So yeah, and I just think, I don't know, he's got that sort of naughty, when he's talking about his wife and stuff. It's just, I don't know, he's absolutely lovely. What a guy.
Yeah.
Great. So, do you want to do a summary?
I think I'd like to leave it to you. I think this film means a lot to you. I would like to hear your sum up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think really it's I think I've covered most of it all. Really, if I want to have a good old cry about me dad, I'll stick this bloody film on, and I am guaranteed it. No question about it at all. I mean, I haven't done that for a while, and I was sobbing at the end of this film, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It's what I like about this movie, I think, is that it's a very male movie, but it's a male movie and it's quite emotional rather than a male movie,
isn't it? This is the thing, and I think maybe that's what people have the big problem.
Whether it's too saccharine.
It's a very male film, but it's also really, really sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if you're allowed to admit to it. I think, and possibly, maybe I started this podcast being a little bit embarrassed and cagey about liking it, and I've got to the end, and now I'm admitting that I'm like bent over double, sobbing like a baby. But it's yeah, it's a very sweet movie. I think that's a really good way to describe it. Um, and I don't know whether we've come to terms with whether it is a movie worthy of. I mean, it was nominated for Best Picture.
Was it?
Yeah. So when it was first released, it wasn't released general release. It was only in a few cinemas. So it came out as a little clever movie. It cost 15 mil, and that was cheap at the time, I think. And it made
especially one with Kevin Costner in.
yeah. Well, he wasn't that big then.
Oh, was he not?
No, it was pre. What made him big? Dances with Wolves and Robin Hood, right?
Oh, Robin Hood. Jay, there's only one worse film.
That's Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
God, do you think Robin Hood's that bad?
No. I just wanted to cue you up for the Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a great movie, but I mean, they've made Robin Hood films over and over and over again, haven't they? And
yeah.
I like the Disney one.
Made Spider-Man.
Yeah, God.
Can't wait for the next reboot.
I think, yeah, I know it's been a year, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Reboot it again.
What I'd really like to see is the origin story. Let's have the origin story again.
Because I don't know how Spider-Man became.
Nobody really knows how Spider-Man became to be. Let's just fill everyone in.
Didn't someone kill his parents outside a theatre? Isn't that how he became a spider?
Jim, you're just exposing yourself as an ignoramus.
We're going to get slated. Yeah. Well, I think that's that movie sorted, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Nice summing up. Good.
Lovely.
Good, sweet film.
Great. So, well, before I pass it on to you to tell us what movie we're doing next week, I just wanted to tell you about my weekend. Because, and I haven't been paid to do this or anything. This is just, if you're in the Northeast, I cannot recommend the Savoy Cinema in Heaton Moor enough. It's an amazing cinema. It's absolutely beautiful. We went there on Saturday. I watched, oh God, do you know what? I've forgotten the name of the film I watched. Born to be Blue, which is a biopic about the jazz trumpet player Chet Baker, and it was a good movie, a bit self-indulgent at times, but what was amazing was the cinema. It's sofas, you got a table, glass of wine going, and it's been restored to its original Art Deco decor, and it was absolutely stunning, and I cannot recommend it enough. So we've got bags of them around this way. There's like the Regal in Marple and the one in Stockport that I can't remember the name of, but yeah, the Savoy, sitting on a sofa cuddling the wife, having your table, your drinks on and stuff. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So, maybe we'll do a cinema recommendation segment as part of this, because it's probably my favourite cinema I've ever been to. So I just thought I'd share the experience with fellow film lovers, because definitely go if you're in the area. Brilliant.
Nice.
Great. And on that note, Crispin, why don't you tell us what film we're going to be doing next?
Right then, so I had a little think. I had quite a few that I wanted to do, but then what I was doing was stopping myself thinking about it too much, so that, because I knew I've got had a little list in my head, but they all tend to be like similar ones and different ones, and I stopped talking about the choice making without revealing other ones that I'm thinking of doing.
Yeah.
And tell you that the film that we're going to do next time is Tootsie.
Oh, Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman, 1982, is he plays a, a full of himself actor, I think, who isn't getting work because he's too
Yeah,
difficult to work with.
yeah.
Has a terrible interview. Dresses up as a woman to do a different role in the same thing. Gets it, and there's the film.
It's a farce, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another one my dad made me watch, and rightly so. And Dustin Hoffman was my favourite actor for a long while. I thought that was brilliant, and The Graduate, and yeah, I think I don't know, Rain Man as well. God, that was a good movie. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, that Rain Man, of course, has your double whammy of having
yeah,
Tom
yeah,
Cruise in it as well.
absolutely, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um,
So,
yeah,
do tell us
brilliant.
what you reckon to our choice. If you have seen it already, tell us what you reckon. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Tell us what you reckon. Get in touch. Twitter is at TATF Podcast. Facebook is Jim.
Facebook.com/These.Are.The.Films.
Easy to remember. And
Yes.
audio stuff is These.Are.The.Films.com.
Email us at show@thesearethefilms.com. And also, please let us know whether you think that we. What you think about the film we just talked about, Field of Dreams, and is it mawkish and twee and saccharine sweet, or is it majestic and beautiful?
Yeah. And
So,
how do you watch it? Do you watch it
yeah.
like me with a bit of a sneer? Or do you
Or
watch
like
it like
me,
Jim, cuddling
through
a
a
cushion?
through a flood
Cuddling a
of
wet
tears.
cushion.
Cuddling one of those Japanese girlfriend cushions. While my wife looks on, wondering
Also
how
in
she
tears.
how she married such an effete guy.
And on that bombshell, it is goodbye from me,
And it's goodbye from me. Froggy Love Daddy.
Daddy Love Froggy.